Hey there, friends. How's everybody doing again? It's been a while. I haven't made a video in a few weeks because I've been out of town with my family staring at flowers. And I guess I'll get to that. I have a lot of things to talk about, but I probably won't talk about most of them. I all the things that have gone through my head in the last few weeks. I'll share what I can come up with here. To start off with, I have way too many hours of footage and photos to share. However, when I got home, the natural tendency of coming back to society is everything falls apart. And my computer's no exception. It crapped out on me, and I lost a bunch of my files from the trip. The travel's up there, but I still have most of my photos on SD cards. And but without the computer, I can't edit together this awesome video I wanted to make to share with all of you these experiences. So I'm doing this on my cell phone. Um, Regardless, I'm not going to mumble on about the trip or where I was. I went to several places in Washington. Our intention, and this was planned a year ago, my family was going to go on a trip for a month this year and try to wind up through Washington up north. Now, we never made it all the way north, but we also came back after 23 days here. Uh, Not because we're done by a long shot. Coming back to town was painful. It's like 90 degrees out there. I would much rather be by the river. But it's the end of the month. There's the basic bills to pay. There's, phone calls to make, crap to do, and a few things that I want to change on the bus, including a collapsing bed. But now, when I say I go camping, I don't mean I was thinking about this on the way home last night. I don't mean what a lot of people think of as camping. As I passed like Paradise Point State Park on the side of the freeway and thought, no, camping is not taking the first exit up the freeway, pulling into an RV campground next to everybody else, hooking up, watching TV, roasting a s'more by the fire pit that's in a little perfect fire containment circle, and then going to bed, waking up, taking a trail, and going home. Camping for me is taking my school bus up like, a 10-mile dirt road, hoping to find a good spot. And it doesn't always pan out. But in this case, we did pretty well. We went to a place called Rimrock Lake out in eastern Washington. Then we went to the Little Natchez River out off Highway 12 on, I think, Highway 403, something like that. Beautiful road, beautiful area, except the ATVs and all the shooting, which are both very popular up there. Now, I wanted to say that because I can actually handle noise in the woods if it's people having a good time. And it's completely different from when I came home. And I was sitting out on my back porch last night listening to the cricket, and then I heard sirens and cars roaring up the freeway, and I thought, I don't want to be back in the city. I really want to be back in the woods. And almost the whole time I was there, the third part of my trip, we went to a place called, we went to a few, a couple other unnameable spots, but we ended up at this place called Wynoochee River. It's out in Washington off Highway 12 west, going the other way off I-5. And we took the Wynoochee Valley Road up to, I think, Road 2312. And this road is kind of a loop road. And we went across this little bridge, found a camp spot that was just basically a primitive type spot, just a fire pit, but it was right off the side of the road, and other people could camp there and would park there to take the trailhead. And we said, screw it. The view was amazing. It was the Olympic Mountains from the south, and you could see the haze come over, or the clouds come over, the into the mountain valley every morning, and it was just gorgeous. Well, I talked to the people down the way, and they said they were leaving Sunday, so we stayed 2 or 3 nights in order to get that spot and traded off with them. And that spot was right down by the bridge on the river, and the water is so crystal clear, just absolutely beautiful. And the kids had a great time. We met these other people who came up in a school bus as well, but they had a full-size bus. Jared and Melissa and their son Finn, and they were really nice people. Got to know some new people. And then we met this other lady named Shiloh with her 2 kids, Walker and Leah. And we all ended up hanging out. Like the last day before we left, we were all hanging out at the campsite, talking about life in general. And Jared even left for a few nights and then came back because turns out I met this guy. He lives at mile marker 14, and the campsite was at like mile marker 40 or 30 or something. So it's like he's not too far away, and so he can just drive up there and hang out, and which is pretty nice. For me, it's like a 3.5 hour drive in the bus, but totally worth going back to, and I probably will. When I got home, my garden had just overgrown. I want to definitely share that with everybody down the line, but so that was enough about my trip. I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way because I'm sure people would ask, what'd you do while you were out there? Well, for the most part, I look for flowers. This is a flower from a plant called stone crop, and you'll probably see it growing in rocks and on rock faces. It's like a succulent, these little like balls that all grow in this, these little clusters. And the flowering part of it is beautiful. There's a few different kinds. There's spreading stone crop and a couple others. But I also went up and harvested some like balsam root, and then I got this amazing plant down by the river that smells like bubble gum, and I still haven't identified it. It's like a sage-like plant out east. And then the last one is one of my favorites. It's like a mint. It's in the mint family, I believe. It's called Mountain Monardella, also known as mountain pennyroyal. Some people call it coyote weed or coyote flower. And it smells kind of like a mint and sage combined. It's fascinating stuff. I love it. I'm always out there smelling the plants and looking at the flowers. In the long run, my intention is to write a book, or I have to think outside the box because I know a lot of people don't like books, but the fact is I prefer books when I'm out in the cut. When I'm walking through the woods, the last thing I want is a digital device to worry about. I need a book with quick identification that'll tell me what something is. And that's hard to find. You might find something that's specific to a region and some other local books, but I wanted something that was put together in kind of a poetic sense, that was interesting, that had some little notes and some maybe mythology about the plant. And, it might take a decade. It might take a long time to do. But I'm mostly looking at the useful plants. I'm no expert, but I know I've quadrupled my knowledge of plants on this just 3-week trip by focusing and reading constantly about them. And I just love learning, and I figure why not learn about something that, has benefit. I especially love come mushroom season. I'm going to go back out there into the woods again. But what did I miss when I was gone? Nothing, man. I mean, the couple times we came to town or to resupply, my wife would look at the news and, just, it was like, I don't even want to know. I just don't even care. 3 weeks later, coming home and reading, it's all the same headlines. It's just even worse. This place is falling apart. And the thing is, it's not that everything's collapsing overnight here. It's more like the world is slowly decaying. Society is not looking out for one another. Right before I came in to make this video, I was just getting up from the couch and I heard this guy honk. I heard this dude driving really fast down my street. Now this is a street with two ends that are closed off, so it's not a through street. And I heard this car hauling ass, and he said, "Get out of the road." And I kind of opened the door, and he had zoomed off, and my son was out there walking across. He's 10 years old. I was like, "Did that guy just yell at you?" He's like, "Oh yeah." Just, I was like, that's bullshit, It's like, don't tolerate that crap. I was like, you're the pedestrian. This is your street. Somebody screaming, "Get out of the road" on a side street. But I thought, it made me think about the woods when you're out there and you see somebody on a desolate road, even though they may be the only car and you're the only people. It's like there's a certain respect, and people slow down for you. They wave, they say hi, and everybody, I think is missing that. Not just the connection to nature, but the connection to one another when we're in a natural setting, so we can converse and enjoy each other's company. And like I said, meet a couple other campers nearby and make friends and exchange information and maybe even make lifelong friends. You never know, because we all know, they're hard to come by, right? People you can trust. people you can really trust or interact with on a level where you can understand each other. And it's never 100%, but you do what you can to get through this world, but we still want human contact. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to just run out in the woods and hide from the world. I want to go out into a setting where interacting with the world is like a small town, but not the kind of small town where everybody's telling stories about one another, all the gossip and bullshit. That's when small towns get too big. But anyhow, there's always going to be that tendency of humans to cause mayhem and talk shit about each other. But in general, I just feel like what's happening right now in the political arena, what's happening right now in the societal arena, the way that we're talking to one another, interacting with one another, I can't even bring up the subjects because you all know what they are. You all know the absurdity of what's going on and how ludicrous it is. It's funny, when I came home the other night, I scrolled through my comments. I didn't have that many, maybe 100 that it said anyway. And that's through all my videos, over the last 3 weeks. And I just scrolled through a few of them, and the ones that always stick out are the negative ones. Ones like, oh, blah, blah, your socialist agenda, your Marxist crap, or somebody like, oh, your town of Portland is burning in these riots, and it's all you liberals that do this, or making everything political. And then also there's the people who want to just look for a reaction, I guess, reactionary people. You start to be able to spot patterns, right? And I guess the sad part is that I always think this is a person who wants attention. Now, this is a person who either wants attention or is angry at the world, or just a troll who wants attention, which is all a troll really wants. But it doesn't matter, and it's not worth responding to any of them. These days, I just don't respond to that kind of shit. But the point of that is that in the past, when I would see that, depending on how I was feeling in my personal life, I might react differently. Getting out into nature and seeing what really matters, it kind of resets you a little bit, where you just shake your head at the trivialities. You definitely should never let it get you emotional, no matter what. There's something wrong if you're getting really, truly angry all the time about what's going on in the world, because you really have to live your own life. And we all know this, but sometimes we just need a reset. And so I think I'm going to go back out for another reset. I started making this flower book while I was out there, where I would just basically take the flowers and I would flatten them in this book, see? And I have several different kinds, and I'd label them and talk about what they are and where I found them. And I started thinking, I may never even do anything with this. It might be pointless, but it brings me peace to do it, and an appreciation for the world that I live in. And what I'm getting at here is that it's an appreciation for what nature has created. You can call nature God, whatever your belief is, it's irrelevant in this case. What we've been given and what we are as people, we can always appreciate the world as it's given to us by nature. But it's very hard to appreciate the world as it's created by mankind through our systems, through our creations and inventions of what's right and wrong, and the poor getting poorer and the rich getting richer. And it's disgusting. And so you can either fight the power, you can stand up and try to make rights and, make rights from wrongs, or you can completely back away from all of that and ignore it. Or you can find a happy medium where you speak out against things maybe that you don't believe are true, but at the same time, you have to keep your own well-being. You can't just spend your whole life angry at the world or angry at others. I guess that would be my message for the day. So there's my video for the day. I really want to share some of these awesome ones I made. Maybe if my computer gets fixed, I'll try. Otherwise, anyway, it's good to see y'all and talk to y'all. I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.